I was hoping I could tell the children a story. I have a story which is about being on a certain way, thinking in a certain way, and then having a sudden change. So you see, my dad, when he was little, about your guys' age, his grandparents lived on a farm. And on the farm, there were always a lot of dogs that were running around, just kind of wild, you know. And they would chase my dad. And it would scare him. He was terrified of these dogs. He'd run away from them all the time. He had to keep away from the dogs because they were scary and they'd chase him and snap at him. And so he grew up learning to be afraid of dogs, to stay away from dogs, to keep his distance from them. But then, when he grew up and got older, he married this woman who turned out to be my mother. And she loves dogs. She always had dogs. And so if they were going to live together, they had to have a dog. And so when I was growing up, we had dogs, but they were my mom's dog. My dad would often say things like, "Lee, your dog needs to go out. Your dog needs food." But it wasn't ever his dog. He didn't ever pet the dogs or talk to the dogs or anything like that. Because he knew, since he was little, that dogs were scary, that dogs would chase him and hurt him. So he didn't become friends with dogs. But then, when I went away to college, my mom got a new dog. A new dog, just kind of like this one. You guys, if you guys will share, you can all see the dog, look at it for a little bit, and then maybe pass it to Jean and Claire to look at. We got a brand new dog when I was in college, and its name was Cagney. And my dad didn't like Cagney, because my dad doesn't like dogs. But Cagney would come up to my dad every day and just look up at my dad. And eventually, my dad changed his mind. He changed his way of thinking about dogs, and now when I go home, he and Cagney roll around on the floor together. They pet each other. He talks to the dog like the dog is his friend. He had this amazing change. He was so sure that the way that he was going was the right way, that dogs were scary, that dogs were mean, that he just kept going that way. But then one day, he had this change. And now he has a new friend. He has this amazing experience with this other dog. He was open to changing the way that he was on, the way that he was thinking. And he got this new friend. We're going to hear in just a second, Phil is going to tell us the story from the Bible this morning. And I want you guys to listen to Phil because he's going to tell a story that's really similar to the one I told you. He'll talk about a man named Saul who changed the way that he was on, who changed his mind. So if you guys would please listen to Phil, we'll hear this story. All right, thank you guys.